The throne is a lonely place for a romantic heart. The palace lights dim long before the city sleeps. Beyond the iron gates, Madrid hums with ordinary life, conversations spilling from cafes, headlights tracing quiet avenues, the pulse of a modern European capital at ease with itself. Inside, silence is deliberate. A young heir walks through corridors where portraits do not smile. They observe, they remind, they measure. The words are not poetic. They are structural, because the throne is not a seat of comfort. It is a platform of continuity. It demands visibility without vulnerability. It demands warmth without indulgence. It demands companionship that strengthens the institution rather than softens it. A crown is not worn for love, it is worn for continuity. From childhood, preparation begins not for romance, but for restraint. Military formation, constitutional study, ceremonial precision, each lesson reinforces the same principle: the individual serves the institution, not the reverse. Yet she is human, and humanity introduces tension. At 2 minutes, the understanding shifts. The loneliness is not imposed by cruelty. It is imposed by expectation. When an heir forms attachments, those attachments are never evaluated solely on affection. They are examined through the lens of governance. Background becomes relevance. Character becomes credibility. Private history becomes public implication. The future consort of a constitutional monarch does not simply join a family. They join the state's symbolic core. That realization reframes the narrative. The issue is not whether she may love. The issue is whether love can withstand scrutiny designed to protect a nation's continuity. National identity is woven into these rituals. The oath before Parliament, the salute to the flag, the steady presence at commemorations. Each act reinforces trust. Continuity is not abstract here, it is embodied in visible presence. At 5 minutes, the phrase returns with deeper gravity. Not because companionship is forbidden, but because it must align with architecture. Spain's constitutional monarchy exists by consent. Its authority is symbolic, yet its stability is practical. Markets respond to predictability. Allies rely on steadiness. In Washington, analysts observe European monarchies as indicators of democratic durability. In London, the balance between personal autonomy and institutional expectation is well understood. In Berlin, constitutional clarity is valued above emotional narrative. In Ottawa and Canberra, where the crown remains embedded in governance, the management of succession is not ceremonial, it is foundational. Global credibility is quiet, but constant. At 8 minutes, a deeper question lingers. How many relationships end before they begin publicly? The institution rarely dramatizes refusal. It prevents escalation. Conversations occur without announcement. Advice is given without spectacle. Sometimes distance grows where attachment once seemed possible. Silence becomes strategy. Continuity is defended long before it is threatened. There is a discipline in that silence. The heir learns early that her smile is national property. Her composure, a stabilizing signal. Emotional transparency must be measured. Public affection calibrated. Power is structural, not emotional. At 10 minutes, the strain sharpens. Imagine the moment when private desire presses against constitutional expectation. When a relationship feels real enough to consider permanence. The king must consider precedent. Parliament must consider perception. The public must consider trust. The institution cannot afford uncertainty at the apex of succession. If the chosen companion carries controversy, financial opacity, political entanglement, reputational volatility, the cost would not be personal embarrassment. It would be institutional erosion. And erosion begins quietly. 14 minutes into this reflection, the point of no return emerges. If ever a future queen were forced to choose openly between affection and architecture, the architecture would prevail. Because once continuity is compromised, restoration is difficult. Spain remembers fracture. It remembers abdication and exile. The modern crown was restored through discipline and constitutional humility. Its survival depends on predictability. A romantic heart may seek spontaneity. A throne cannot afford it. This is the living thread of continuity. The loneliness, then, is not isolation. It is vigilance. At 19 minutes, another horizon appears. Across Europe, monarchies navigate generational transition. Republican sentiments surface in cycles. Social media magnifies private gestures into international commentary within hours. In the United States, individual fulfillment is often framed as paramount. In the United Kingdom, recent history illustrates how personal decisions reshape institutional narratives. Germany measures stability through legal consistency. Canada and Australia weigh symbolism against evolving democratic identity. In such an environment, the heir's companionship becomes more than a personal milestone. It becomes a reflection of institutional resilience. A misalignment would not remain domestic. It would echo through diplomatic receptions, economic forums, defense partnerships. Stability is not merely ceremonial, it is strategic. A crown is not worn for love, it is worn for continuity. Yet continuity does not extinguish longing. It disciplines it. There will be moments, unseen by cameras, when the weight feels human. When the contrast between ordinary youth and extraordinary expectation sharpens. When the awareness of scrutiny tempers spontaneity. But the institution was designed precisely to withstand that tension. The throne demands patience. It demands that attachment mature under observation without fracturing under pressure. It demands that any future partner understand the architecture they are entering, the centuries of symbolism, the constitutional guardrails, the global audience measuring steadiness. The phrase lingers because it is honest. Leadership at the symbolic apex is solitary by nature. Decisions are filtered through advisors, through law, through precedent. Even companionship must be compatible with governance. Duty outweighs desire. The survival of the institution is the ultimate prize. One day, an engagement may be announced. Approval implicit in the absence of objection. The public will see ceremony. Diplomats will note reassurance. Markets will register continuity. Or perhaps delay will persist. Evaluation will continue. The heart will adapt to architecture. History does not hurry heirs. It surrounds them. The palace lights dim again. The city beyond the gates continues its rhythm, unaware of the quiet calibrations within. Not empty, not cold, but watchful. And somewhere between private hope and public duty, the future queen stands, aware that what she carries is larger than affection, larger than impulse, larger even than herself. The crown waits, continuity waits, and the choice, when it comes, will not belong solely to the heart.